All right. Hi, Miriam. How you going?
Doing well. How are you?
Good, good. Thanks so much for making time to talk on the podcast today. I'm really excited to have you here. And yeah, it's good to see you. It's been a long time. You were a student at Augustine Academy in 2019. Is that right?
That's
Yeah.
correct.
And
Yeah. Time's
you,
flown since then.
yeah. And during your time at Augustine, you would do an end of year drama production each year, and in your year actually, you'd be gratified to know was I think in the 10 years of Augustine Academy's history of putting on drama productions, it was by far the most extraordinary. Not to disparage any of the others, but it just was. It definitely has yet to be exceeded. And yeah, it was just a truly fantastic production. It's just I still remember it was absolutely amazing. And you took a lead role in the Fiddler on the Roof. What was the name of your character again?
Hover.
Yeah, okay. So you're one of the
Yeah.
little Jewish girls, and you just absolutely nailed the part. And did not only extraordinarily well on stage, but you surprised nobody getting the Dux award at the graduation. And then after that, I know you've been up to a lot, but fill me in because I like where's life taken you since graduating Augustine Academy?
Yeah. So the year after Augustine Academy, I it was 2020, so obviously a very complicated year for a lot of reasons with
Mm,
COVID. But that was a time that I really took to kind of study on my own and discern my future steps, which Augustine Academy gave me the option to do, because it meant that I finished a year early. And so that was a year that I spent at home and working and studying. And then the year after that, in 2021, in August, I was very fortunate to get accepted at a university in the States, at the University of Notre Dame,
wow.
which is something that I always dreamed about travel, but I dreamed specifically about studying overseas, not just being a tourist, but
Was
kind of
the
experiencing
inspiration of
something different.
taking your studies over to America was reading the likes of Little Women with Amy going over to America? Like, that's obviously quite a tradition in many literary works of going to overseas and doing studies there. Was that in any way kind of added to the I guess the romance of international studies?
Absolutely. I definitely related to Jo a lot when she was upset because she didn't get to go to Europe because that had always been one of my dreams
Hmm.
since I was young. And it also is a lot due to the fact that my parents traveled so much when I was young. And
Yeah.
so we didn't move to Australia until I was 5. And so that was an additional inspiration because I had those memories from the very early years.
Wow.
And I was born in the States, and so I had that connection as well, which in some ways has made it a lot easier because my godparents don't live too far away and they're wonderful. And
Wow.
I have had some connections. So I'm very fortunate that that enabled me to travel. And part of my studies, definitely one of the highlights was our third year of study. We got to spend in Rome.
Wow.
And it was like a big part of the reason that I wanted to do the course. And
Wow.
so that was something that really brought to life a lot of the things that Augustine had kind of given us a taste of. But I was very, very blessed that I was able to experience a lot of that history firsthand. And it was interesting because one of my essays that I did for Mon's history class was an essay on the Renaissance. And that was like everywhere in Rome. And we
Yeah.
took class on that and we studied the history of that. And so I was looking back and I reread that essay this like recently, actually. It
Wow.
was like, so that education definitely made that year so much more
Great.
exciting just
Yeah.
because I
And
had that in the back
and
of my mind.
so whereabouts in the States are you studying and what is the course that you're undertaking?
Yeah, so I am studying in Notre Dame, well, Notre Dame, the Americans call it Notre Dame, which to everybody else sounds sacrilegious, but it is in South Bend, Indiana, so the
Okay.
Midwest. It's very cold winters, and we get the lake effect snow, but it's 2 hours from Chicago,
Okay.
so that's the nearest big city.
Nice.
Yeah,
Okay. And
so we
how
go
and
swimming.
so you're there now. How long have you been over there?
So it's actually I'm studying a course in classical and traditional architecture. And in the States, to get a professional degree in architecture, so you don't need a master's to be a practicing architect, it's a 5-year course. So I'm actually in the 5th year of study and have it's so crazy because 5 years is a long time, but I am have 2 more semesters.
And you're in your fifth year of study over there. Like, but yeah, how old are you now?
Yeah. Pardon?
Oh, how old are you now? Because you're in your fifth year of study over in the States. What?
I am 22 and
Man.
I'll be
Yeah.
23 when I graduate. So,
Wow. There you go.
yeah,
That's
it's a
wild.
long time.
Yeah, yeah. And wow. Okay. Now you said it's classical traditional architecture. Can you tell an ignorant person how that's different from standard architectural studies?
So that is a big reason why um, Notre Dame is attractive to people from overseas because there aren't many courses nowadays that look to the past for, I guess, inspiration for how to build better in the future. And a lot of programs kind of discount that idea of looking at the past or looking at precedent or looking at traditional buildings because it's kind of seen, I guess, beauty isn't considered important
Hmm.
in a lot of modern architecture schools. And so that was obviously, I think, which is why there's so much ugly architecture in the 20th century, by discounting the importance of beauty. And so Notre Dame was one of the rare schools, or one of the first schools, to say no to the modern ideas of training and architecture. And they kind of changed, I don't know when it was, but it was in the 80s or early 90s when they just changed the architecture program overnight. A man called Thomas Gordon Smith, who's a legend, and who's passed away now, but did a lot for the Notre Dame School of Architecture, kind of turned it around and said, beauty is important and looking at tradition is important and looking at principles of classical architecture can help you to be a better designer and a better architect and to make an impact in the world by designing buildings that are beautiful and inspiring.
Yeah. Wow.
And so since then it's been one of the leading programs and other programs have started to spring up kind of inspired by that. And there are definitely people who are kind of waking up to that across the world, but Notre Dame was one of the big players
Yeah.
in that. So it's
Wow.
been really special to be a part of that.
And both your parents, but particularly your father, must be particularly excited about you continuing on the legacy because not only is, as far as I
Yeah.
understand, he's an architect as well, but also he's very passionate about traditional, beautiful architecture and trying to return back to doing things, when beauty
Mhm.
was a priority.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So he did his master's at Notre Dame when I was little,
Okay.
which is why I was born here. And then,
Wow. Really continuing the legacy.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah, I've been very lucky.
Wow.
It's
Okay.
been a really special experience. And the nice thing about it is that it's been very, because it's more holistic than a lot of other architecture programs. It's not just about the technical side, it's also about the beauty and making um making buildings that will last and that people will love over time, as well as just being functional in the moment. It's
Yeah.
also a very holistic curriculum. So obviously being able to spend time in Rome and being able to learn the history of architecture and spending a lot of time sketching and drawing because that helps you with design. And I'm somebody that always loved art. And so that was a big part of what attracted me to the program is kind of this like disciplinary approach to
Yeah,
architecture, which has been really good.
that's
And that's
unreal.
something that the liberal arts kind of inspires you to take on.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's unreal. Yeah,
Into,
study the history of those ancient cities, and then yeah, you're looking at the technical architectural stuff of it, and that's unreal. When you sent through the other day your
yeah,
portfolio of some sketches you'd done of your time in Europe, with it was yeah, it was well the beautiful pieces of art. I was just thinking as I was looking at them, I was like, man, that's unreal to be actually like, and you were there seeing these beautiful ancient pieces of architecture and being able to, yeah, draw them, paint them, and not just because you've got an idle interest in it, but you're wanting to actually master the art of recapturing that, you know, faded. I don't want to say completely lost skill, but but it's something that is certainly not prevalent the way that it's been before, and that's just so cool that you're pursuing a real artisan sphere of work that I think is terrifically necessary because beauty inspires you to the transcendent and to be having nothing but functional buildings that are an eyesore is it affects more I think it affects the soul. So that's good work. I can't wait to see where you
yeah.
take it. That's unreal. I'm curious to hear your experience with you came from you homeschooled before you came to Augustine. That's right, yeah?
Yes, but not the full way.
Okay.
So I homeschooled till till year 9, 10. And then year 9, 10, I went to a small independent school
Okay. So
in
being
Aubrey.
having had both experiences, homeschooled, bit of
Yeah.
school as well. And how did you find, I guess going to Augustine Academy, from your previous study background, like what was that jump like?
Yeah, no, Augustine Academy was unlike anything that I'd experienced, but it was definitely to me the best of both worlds,
Okay, why?
for sure. Um, because I was somebody I really liked homeschooling, but I also we had a great homeschool group for many years. But when that kind of stopped happening for different reasons, I was somebody that definitely needed my peers to kind of inspire me to push myself when I was working entirely on my own homeschooling with independent study. I kind of struggled to find that motivation if I wasn't surrounded by people who were pursuing similar things. And so I actually was the one who was like, please, I really want to go to school. I would love to like spend time with people and also study with people. And so school was good for me in different ways, and I definitely needed that. Um, but I think Augustine Academy was so special because we had great teachers at school and I really loved it. But Augustine Academy, they had to follow kind of the government curriculum, and it was kind of, you couldn't really get, ex you couldn't dive deep into things that were the most important, that you had the flexibility to do homeschooling and to get excited about the topics because there were certain things that needed to be covered. And so you would have to cover those things, which is good, but it has its limits.
Yeah,
And
okay.
so I remember Augustine Academy was so exciting because um it was things that I wanted to study and things that I was excited about studying. And I was also doing it in a cohort with a group of people who were also pursuing the same goals. And the teachers were teaching things that they were excited about and that they had crafted and kind of knew deeply, and they knew and were enthusiastic about it. And not only that, that would inspire the students to be enthusiastic about it. And it was definitely something that struck me about Augustine when I got there is that people are excited to be here and excited to learn, and we can discuss things as a group um, at the same time, and we can also pick things um, to really dig deep
That's
with the
awesome.
studies and to get enthusiastic about it. So I think that's really important. And I think Augustine kind of had the structure, but also the opportunity to kind of explore the topics that you were interested in through the tutorials and the group discussions. So
That's cool.
it
No,
was
that's
really
awesome.
exciting.
No, that's terrific to hear. So that's yeah, great. Yeah, insights just on the academic experience, and then I guess before we close, I'd love to hear what's one fond memory from your year at Augustine.
It's hard to limit it to one. You're
You
making
can
it
have
really tough.
you can have one and a half.
But I really like there were a lot of good memories, and I think we had such a great cohort and we had such great teachers. It was definitely a special year. I really loved I just remember some nights when people would just make music together. When you had people on the tin whistle and you had people singing, and it was just really cool. And I really loved that we ended up having those weekly talent nights where people would share things that they'd been working on, or share like a piece of music, or share like a piece of poetry and things like that. I thought that was really special, and it gave people a lot of um like freedom to share and get better at things that they were good at, and also to like learn more about each other and what they were passionate about. And so I think the talent nights and the music nights and the dancing and lots of things. And you're
That's
right, the fiddler was really fun too.
yeah, no, it was
Have you
unreal.
guys done a musical?
Look, this year
Yeah.
we're doing Beauty and the Beast this year, so that'll be our
Oh wow.
second. That's the only other time apart from Fiddle on the Roof that we've actually kind of
Yeah, yeah.
attempted to get a musical. So that'll be interesting. So we've got that.
It is a big commitment to do a
Yeah,
musical, but we
yeah,
were very lucky that our year pulled together and
yeah. And because you had
uh,
dancing, you had singing, you had live music with Rob on the violin. It was yeah,
yeah,
it was magic. That's
they
cool.
did a phenomenal job.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Miriam, for giving some insights and sharing your experience of Augustine Academy and what you've done since then. That's all terrifically exciting, and I'm excited to see where your studies take you there when you graduate. And yeah, that yeah, sounds like you've got some uh, horizons rich with potential with what you've been undertaking. And yeah, the world is your oyster.